Hi everyone, let's talk about Tna Genesis, which I thought was a decent show. I enjoyed it, guys. Let's talk about it. So we had Eric Young and Lorenzo Stacks and BDE Fences, KJ Arso, known as Fargo del Sol. You remember Far- Fargo del Sol in AEW? You remember back in the day he was going to get a contract and all of that, but you know what happened with his whole story. But yeah, it was a four-way between KG Arso and BTE and Eric Young and the TNA International Champion Lorenzo Stacks, which was a fun match. I'm telling you, it was a fun match. Let's talk about it, guys. The early advantage goes to Arso as he brings the fight to the champion, and Stacks and Ariana Grace are glowing at ringside, but BDE makes them pay with a dive to the floor, and BDE hits Eric Young with the knee of glory, and Orso connects with a springboard. Also, again, sorry guys, with a springboard moonsault to Stacks. Then BTE kicks out of the Orso driver at 2. Then BDE hits the clip cutter from BTE on Lorenzo Stacks. Then Eric Young spikes Orso with the power driver, but Lorenzo Stacks steals the pin for the title and retains the TNA title, guys. I'll repeat it again. So yes, guys, Arso did the power driver, then you know Lorenzo Stacks steals the pin to retain the title, guys, and he steals the pin and does a dirty pin to retain the TNA International title, guys, which was a fun match, and I loved it. And great heel work from Lorenzo Stacks, and I loved it, man. I'm telling you. Then backstage, the new director of operations, um, so Sonya Deville. You remember when in WWE that was her name, Sonya Deville, but in TNA it's um, Dara Ray. I was thinking Dara Ray and I'll say it again, guys. The new director of operation, Dara Ray, criticized Santino Marella for essentially pushing Lorenzo Stack punishing punishing Lorenzo Stacks, and Jess Miller reveals that another match has been added to the countdown to Genesis following following backstage with Tessa Blanchard and Milla Moore and Victoria Crawford and Robert Stone and Victorious also again Victorious Vicky and Indy Hartwell, which was a fun tag team match, guys. It was really fun. I loved it, guys. It was a fun match. Then, then I was thinking, then George Iceman introduces the new TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, Heather and Am by Elegates, of course, and they're since by Mr. Elegates, which was fun, guys, and all of that. Then we had the action, which was good, guys, with Miss Miller and Tessa Blanchard fences Victorious Vicky and Indy Hartwell. That indie wrestler Vicky, oh man, she's really good. I love that woman. I have seen some of her matches and she's really good. I'm telling you guys, Vicky, that girl Vicky, she's really good. Let's talk about it. So the action continues as the countdown to Genesis as Tessa Blanchard and Mella Moore to take on Indy Hartwell and Victorious Vicky, and the Elegates brand is watching the match from ringside, and Tessa and Moore cut off the ring and wear Vicky down in early going, and Vicky creates separation and makes the tag to Hartwell, and the pace quickly as Hartwell goes on the attack and connects with a spine buster, and on Tessa Blanchard on 2. Also again, spine buster on Tessa Blanchard for 2. Then Robert Stone gets up on the apron, allowing Crawford to get involved, and Hartwell gets into it with the Elegance brand at ringside. And then meanwhile, Tessa Blanchard picks Vicky away with a buzz saw, and that's what happened right there, guys. And that's how Tessa Blanchard and Miss Miller with Victoria Crawford and Robert Stone defeated Vicky and India Hartwell, which was a fun match, guys. I'm telling you. Then Then we have this match, the main card. AJ Francis fences Rick Swan, which was awesome with Rick Swan. with Dallas Cowboys trunks, which was pretty cool, and AJ Francis wearing the Washington Commanders jersey, which was pretty cool, and all of that stuff. Really good stuff, guys. Let's talk about it, anyways, guys. So, the former allies collide as AJ Francis battles Rick Swann in an opening contest on the pay-per-view, and AJ Francis attacks him from behind before the opening bell, and Rick Swann quickly turns it around as he clotheslines AJ Francis over the top rope, then flies to the outside as Rick Swann goes for a handspring, but AJ Francis swats him out of midair. Then Rick Swann attempts the down payment, but AJ Francis launches him face first into the floor instead, and AJ Francis hits a big boot for two. Then Rick Swann builds momentum and connects with the 450 splash for a near fall of his own, and then Rick Swann bites the arm of AJ Francis, but is cut off in midair with the TFL, which was great, guys, with the TFL. And then AJ Francis plants him with the Styles Clash. Then Rick Swann counters another Styles Clash. It sends into a destroyer, but it's not enough to keep AJ Francis down. And Rick Swann scores with a top rope splash, but AJ Francis gets his foot on the bottom rope. Then AJ Francis puts Rick Swann away with the down payment, and that's how he won and defeated Rick Swann. And that's how AJ Francis defeated Rick Swann, guys, which was good. Then Jis Miller induces the new TNA World Champion Mike Santana, who is confident ahead of the match of the Texas Death Match against Frankie Kazarian. Then, then we had Mustafa Ali fences Elijah, which was a decent match, guys. This was a decent match. Let's talk about it, guys. Elijah collides. Also, again, Elijah competes in his first single match in 6 months as he battles the leader of Order 4 and Mustafa Ali. Before the match begins, Elijah fends off a snake attack from the great hands, and Mustafa Ali takes advantage of the distraction and takes out Elijah with a dive to the outside, and Mustafa Ali regains in control with his sinister rolling neck breaker, and both men in chain strikes in the middle of the ring with Elijah gaining the upper hand with a clothesline, and Elijah hits the Highwayman farewell for two, and the great hands offense the Highwayman farewell from the top rope, and Elijah hits sky high off the top, but special, I was thinking special, Zero, also again, guys, special, special, I'll just say that for right now, guys. Special Zero pulls a ref, ascends Len off the ring. Also again, Elise Lane out of the ring, and special agent. Also again, special agent Zero, and the great hands are rejected from ringside with the ref distraction, and Tasha Stills enters the ring, and Elijah is about to hit her with a highway farewell and stuff with the farewell, guys, and stuff like that, which was good and stuff, guys, with that and all that, and back and forth, and really good pacing, back and forth, boom, 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 boom. Really good stuff, guys. And then Elijah is about to hit her with a highway farewell, but Mustafa Ali smashes the guitar across his back, and Mustafa Ali scores the pin and wins and defeats Elijah, and that's how Mustafa Ali won with the help of Tessa Stills. Once again, with the help of Tessa Stills, and that's what happened right there with the guitar. Also again, but Mustafa Ali smashed the guitar across his back, and that's what happened right there. And then Mustafa Ali scored the pinfall for the win, and that's what happened right there. And that's how Mustafa Ali defeated Elijah with the guitar, which was a good stuff right there, guys. Really good stuff, in my opinion. And give it up to both of them. That was really good. Then, then we had the retirement match for AKA Fandango, JDC taking on Eddie Edwards, which this was a fun match, but it would have been cool if JDC would have won his last match in wrestling, but still it was a fun match with Eddie Edwards and JDC. Let's talk about it. So yes, guys, let's talk about it. So JDC retires from in-ring competition as he battles the system ally Eddie Edwards in the final dance, and JDC tries to catch Eddie off of guard with a surprise pin since in the opening moment, and Eddie picks him off the top and then connects with a dive, and then the match spills to the outside where JDC hits a suplex into the hardest part of the ring. Then Eddie accidentally chomps the steel ring post, and JDC scores over the top rope and crashes into Eddie onto the floor, and JDC connects with a tornado DDT and followed by a Falcon Arrow. Then Eddie bounces back with the Blue Thunder Bomb, and JDC powers out of a headlock, then locks in the wall, and JDC hits the Cold Breaker for another near fall. Then JDC sends Eddie flying with a air rug crush off the top rope, and then Eddie counters down and dirty into the Boston Knee Party, but it's not enough. And another Boston Knee Party, and JDC still kicks out, and Eddie Edwards, also again, Eddie Edwards connects with one final Boston Knee Party for the win, and that's how Eddie Edwards defeated JDC with the Boston Knee Party. Then after the match, JDC receives a standing ovation from the crowd and the TNA locker room as he says goodbye to professional wrestling. And that's what happened right there. Then we had the TNA injury report and stuff, and Elijah's under since after exercising his tie-rib, I'll say it again, tie-rib injury, tie-rib injury in his match with Mustafa Ali early in the night. Then Steve Macklin is out of action following an attack from the NXT Outlaws, and Steve Macklin is scheduled to return his next. Hold on, who's in here? Oh, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you with the thumbs up. And then and stuff with that, and scheduling the week on Thursday night's Impact. And then the Hardys are not at 100% following an attack from the Righteous, but they are cleared to compete in the match for, their match at Genesis that happened. We'll talk about that match, guys. It was a good match with the Righteous. The Righteous and the Hardys, that was great. Let's talk about that in a bit, guys. Okay, appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Appreciate you stopping by. I'll see you later. Appreciate that. I won't show that on the screen. I won't show that one, but I'll show the thumbs up one though. Then we had Jakira Jackson fences Ryan Nemeth. This was a little fun match, intergender match. Thank goodness it was quick. I'm not really into these intergender matches, but I'm getting really into it more because of the independent scenes. They do that more in the independent, but finally getting into intergender matches because the independents do a lot of that. So, anyways, let's talk about this with Mariah Shade, Jakara Jackson fences Ryan Nemeth. Let's talk about it. So, Myra Shade looks to test Ryan Nemeth as a lesson as they go one-on-one on Genesis, and Ryan sends a super kick into the early going as Shade takes him out with a crossbody off the apron, and then Ryan drops her back first into the hardest part of the ring to gain control, and Shade builds momentum with a series of strikes followed by a tornado DDT, and Ryan drop kicks her off the top and then scores the pin with a handful of jeans and a hold on the ropes, and that's what happened right there, guys, and that's how Ryan Nemeth defeated Myra Shade, Jakara Jackson, guys, aka Jakara Jackson. Then Ariana Grace brags about Stax retaining the TNA International Champion early in the night and despises Santino Marella trying to stack the Dax against him and stuff. And appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you as well. Thanks for coming in, my friend. Appreciate you stopping by. Much love. And then we had Li Yang Lee fences Saria, which was a good match for the TNA Knockouts women's title with Saya Lee and Saria. Saya Lee was her name in WWE, but her name, in TNA had been saying Li Yang Lee. Let's talk about it, guys. Which this was a good match. This was a good match between the two women. Let's talk about it. So after issuing an open challenge this past Thursday on Impact, Li Yang Lee was defending the TNA Knockouts World Championship against the NXT Saria, and the early advantage goes to Saria as she picks her strength on display, and Saria hits a clothesline, then locks in and since Texas Coral Leaf, and then Lee fights free in a sense to capture a submission of her own. Then Lee turns the tights as she appeals Saria in the corner, and then Lee hits an exploder suplex for two, and then Saria breaks a sleeper hold. Also again, a sleeper hold ascends and diving Lee face first into the turnbuckle, and Saria regains control with a back suplex into the apron. And meanwhile, the Elegance brand are seen watching on from the top of the stage as Soruka, Soruka and Saria captured to be the number one contender for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles this coming, stuff and all that, which already happened. We'll talk about that in a while tonight. Then Saria accidentally knocks out the ref, and Soruka and Saya Brookside fend off the Elegance brand and back into the ring, and Lee and Saria exchange a fury of strikes, and Lee plants her with the Warrior's Way to retain the title, and that's how Saya Lee won with the Warrior's Way, and that's how she won the match and defeated Saria and retained the TNA Knockouts Women's title, which was a great match between those two women. Great hard hitting, great stuff in my opinion. Great stuff, great stuff. You know. Then after the match, Lee and Saria shake hands, and TNA's wrestling newest knockout, Cora J return. Cora J. Alina Black sets her sights on the Knockouts World Title. Alina Black, and that's what happened right there, guys. And then Call Your Shot trophy holder Nick Nemeth has total control when he receives as the special guest referee in tonight's TNA World Championship, the Texas Death Match between Mike Santana and Frankie Kazarian and stuff. And then we had this, guys. Then we had this match. Oh my goodness. The Hardys and the Righteous. Oh, good stuff, good stuff. Let's talk about it, guys. So we had the Hardys, defending the TNA World Tag Team titles, defeating, the Righteous and retaining those titles, guys. And it was a great match. Let's talk about it, guys. I thought the Righteous were going to win these tag team titles, but still a great match. Let's talk about it. The mind games are over, and the time for fighting is now as the Hardys defend. I meant to say, I was going for the Righteous, but, I said the Hardys. You can go back and watch my preview and prediction. I forgot, but still, it didn't matter. It was still a fun match, guys. And I'll say it again. The mind games are over as the time for fighting is now as the Hardys defend the TNA World Tag Team title against the Righteous, and the Hardys jumpstart the match by Vincent and Dutch into the outside, and Matt hits Vincent with the side effect, and Matt is setting up for the twist of fate, but Dutch gets involved and clotheslines Matt from the apron, and the Righteous are now in control as they cut off the ring and wear Matt down, and Matt creates separation with a twist of fate to Dutch and following him to make the tag to Jeff, and the pace quickly as Jeff brings the fight to the Righteous, and Jeff has a submission lock on Vincent, but Dutch breaks it up, and the Hardys deliver a twist to Vincent, and Dutch breaks down, and the Hardys momentum with death walk to Matt, and Dutch hits Matt with a twist of fate and followed by a suicide bomb from Vincent, and Jeff pulls Vincent away, guys, and stuff off the cover as Dutch crashes and burns on a leg dropper sends to the floor, and Dutch gets on the microphone and tells the Hardys that this is what they wanted, and Matt hits Vincent with the twist of fate, and Jeff since with the suicide bomb in 1, 2, 3, and that's how the Hardys won, and the Hardys defeated the Righteous with that, and that's how they won. Jeff did the suicide bomb 1, 2, 3, and that's what happened right there, guys. Then the TNA X Division champion Leon Slater apologized for not being able to compete at Genesis, but thanks Joe Henry for taking his spot in the triple threat match. And then we had this triple threat. Oh my goodness, this match was great as well with Cedric Alexander and Joe Henry and Moose. Oh, this match was good, I'm telling you guys. This match right here was good. Oh man, let's talk about it, guys. So Joe Henry completes in the TNA Wrestling for the first time in 3 months as he battles Moose and Cedric Alexander, and Moose powerbombs Alexander into the apron, and Henry hits Moose with a powerbomb of his own into the apron, and Henry sends Alexander into the ring, into the ring steps, the steel ring steps, and Joe Henry hits Moose with a sense back body drop into the steps, and the ring. The match The match continues between Joe Henry and Cedric Alexander as the ring technical, the technical people and the TNA president Carlos Savia look after Moose. Essentially, minutes later, Moose re-enters the ring and goes on the offense, and Moose hits Alexander with "Go to Hell" for two. Then Alexander spikes Henry with the Death Valley Driver, then locks the crossface, and Moose assists Joe Henry from tapping, but Cedric Alexander plants him with a Styles Clash for another near fall, which was beautiful. That was beautiful, man. Then Moose spears Cedric Alexander out of midair. That was beautiful. Out of nowhere, out of midair, guys, with Moose to Cedric Alexander with that spear. That was beautiful. That was beautiful, I'm telling you. Oh man, that was beautiful. But it was still not enough. It was not enough, guys. It was not enough. And then Cedric Alexander takes out Moose with the LeBar check. And then Joe Henry hits Cedric Alexander with the standing ovation for the win. And that's how Joe Henry defeated Cedric Alexander and Moose in that triple threat. And Joe Henry won. Then, then we had the director of authority, Santino Marella, and Fate. I'll say it again, repeat it again. I make a lot of mistakes, guys. So the director of authority, Santino Marella, also again, Santino Marella in fights, also again, invites the Countdown to Genesis panel to give their predictions on the TNA World title match and stuff and all of that. And Mike Santana and Frankie Kazarian between Tommy Dreamer can speak and also again and Sonya Deville. I'll just say that her name, her WWE name, when I get stuck. So yeah, Sonya Deville interrupts and tells the protection to roll the tape for the main event, and that's what happened right there, guys. And I'll say it again. Daria Ray. I'll say again. Daria Ray interrupts and tells the protection to roll the tape for the main event, and then we had the main event, guys. Then we had the main event. Oh, this main event was good. I thought Nick Nemeth was going to cash in his trophy, which we'll talk about it here in a minute, guys. At that moment, I thought he was going to get the zigzag, and then the ref was going to come in real quick and do the 1, 2, 3, but it didn't happen. But man, this was fun and happy for Mike Santana, retaining. But let's talk about it anyways. So it's main event time as Genesis, as the new TNA World Champion, Mike Santana puts his title on the line against Frankie Kazarian in a Texas death match. There are no disqualifications, and the competitor must be pinned or forced to submit. And since the count of a competitor cannot stand by the count of 10, and the match is over, called your shot. Trophy holder Nick Nemeth was served as the special guest referee, and Mike Santana hits a cannonball into the guardrail and the brawl into the crowd, where Santana leaps off the top of a barricade, then whips out Frankie Kazarian on the concrete into the backstage area, and Frankie Kazarian dives him back first into a steel garbage door, and then Frankie Kazarian hits a power slam onto the exposed floor for two. Then both men exchange share shots with Frankie Kazarian getting the upper hand, and Mike Santana spikes him with a power driver into two chairs and to score the 3 count. And that's what happened right there, guys. And then Nick Nemeth brings the count, but Frankie Kazarian makes his back to his feet at 9. Then Frankie Kazarian sends Mike Santana crashing into the table for a cutter for 3. And then this time, Mike Santana is back up at 9. Then Mike Santana swings at Frankie Kazarian with a barbed wire baseball bat, and Mike Santana weeps off the top of a ladder, putting Frankie Kazarian through a table below. Then Mike Santana whips his arm in a barrier. Also, again, Mike Santana, I'll repeat it again. Mike Santana wraps his arm in barbed wire and hits Frankie Kazarian with a spin to block for the win, 1, 2, 3, and that's how he won. And then Frankie Kazarian sits down for the count of 10. I'll say it again, for the count of 10, I say 1, 2, 3, but for the 3, he did the 1, 2, 3, got the 3, and then got the count of 10 as well. The count of 10, that's how the Texas death match goes. And then he got the 10 as well, and that's how he picked up the victory. And then after the match, Nick Nemeth sends Mike Santana the danger zone, and Nick is about to call his shot. And then Mike Santana takes him down with the spin to block, and that's what happened. And that's what happened on the show. And Mike Santana stands tall with the TNA World Title, and that's what happened right there, guys. And I gave this show a 7 out of 10, guys. There were some flaws on the show, but I still enjoyed it. Every match, I enjoyed every match, but I'm not going to give it a 10. I gave this show a 7 out of 10. It was a decent show. Enjoyed everything. My 3 favorite matches on the show was the Saya Lee's match with you know, Sarya, then Mike Centena and the Mike Centena and Frankie Kazarian. I was almost going to say Nick Nemeth. He was the special guest referee in the match, but you know what I'm saying, guys. Mike Centena versus Frankie Kazarian. That was my favorite, favorite match. The main event, loved it. And then the other match that I liked was the triple threat match with Moose and Cedric Alexander and Joe Henry. And then the other one was AJ Francis and Moose, and then the TNA World Women's title with Saya Lee and Sarya. Lee Yang Lee facing Sarya. Those were my top four matches on that show, and it was good. I'm telling you, that was good, man. Oh, I'm telling you, in that countdown match with the four way with Lorenzo Stacks and KJ Arso and Eric Young and BTE, that was great as well, man, for the TNA International Championship. Oh man, I'm telling you. And then the women's tag team match with Tessa Blanchard and Miss Moore, Mila Moore and Vicky and Indy Hartwell. That was fun as well, guys. So yes, guys, I gave this show a 7 out of 10, and Tna Genesis a 7 out of 10, guys. And much love and peace out and take care.